right, guys, welcome back to the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, episode 99. We're right there on the edge of 100. I'm like, oh my gosh. And just like reflecting on the whole journey of this whole podcast. And this has been a powerful, powerful place for me to be. And just so grateful that you guys are here tuning in. And this podcast episode, I'm going to talk with you guys about a story that happened in my field today and the learnings from it. And the episode energy is about, are you asking the right questions? And are you clear in your life in what you desire? And there's some potency coming through. You'll probably laugh at some of the adventures I go on, but you guys should know, if you've been here a while, you know, I am an open book. I love random thoughts. I am real. I show up real all the time. Like right now, like I'm in a tank top and no makeup and my hair's up in this like random bun, and I'm delivering this content out to you. And most of you guys are probably listening to this and not watching the actual video on YouTube. So you're welcome. You're welcome. But I love this work. And I just want to say that I love this work. I love the awareness. I love being present in life. I love watching stuff come together. I love it. And I love sharing this energy with you. So every single week when I get to step up and be here and be in this energy with you, I actually love it. So with no further ado, episode 99, the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast.
What is going on, my friends, beautiful people, all of you guys out there in the podcast experience world, or if you guys are watching this on YouTube, welcome to the 99th episode of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And right before I hit record, I went to take a look at what it means in the spiritual meaning, the number is 99. And it means spiritual growth, and we're moving through capacity to maneuver in our life, transformation, and all that beautiful juiciness. And you know what's really kind of fun is that when things land in our field, like specific numbers or stuff that we're looking up spiritual meanings on, every single one of us could get a different energetic imprint on that answer. Depending on where you are in the world, obviously some algorithm things happen on Google, but also too, I really believe that divine and spirit leads us to the exact messaging that we need to hear now in connection with the messages that are dropping through our field. So I just wanted to leave that into your awareness, because 99 for you might mean different than 99 for me, or 99 for the other person listening to this podcast, or the 10 people listening down the road to the podcast, or the people that see this video on YouTube, right? So really allow yourself to feel into that today as you maneuver through your life and look at, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for me? Not for you, not for that person over there, not for that other person, not for what you think it might mean for your family, but who you are. What does this mean for me? So today I want to tell you guys about an experience that I've had recently, this morning, literally. And I want to break this down because there's so much learning that we can maneuver through in this story that I'm about to tell you. And this is a typical human story. This isn't like a deeply rooted, oh my God, I had a dark night of the soul awakening today. Like, this is like everyday life as a human. And isn't it true, though, that some of the most profound alignments in our world are done in the capacity of being a human, that we feel, we see, we get to endeavor within, that we get to move through when we are living our life as a human? And that's one of the keys. It's like most of the profound learnings don't come through when we're meditating alone for a week, although that might be an aspect of an opening. But it's in the everyday life. It's in our everyday lessons. It's in our everyday movements of the world. So right now I am looking for a new place to live. I am in a space that I have this location until the end of July, and I desire to have certain aspects of my life shift as I move forward in this next part of the year. I desire a more expanded place to go, and I really desire a fence for the dogs. I don't want to have to worry about Clark trying to bite people. Like, he nipped one of the kids in the community the other day, and I just want to set all of us up for safety, and that they can run free in the yard. We can play in the yard. We can have a good time, and I don't have to worry about it. Then I can take them for walks and actually, ground them in and do some of the things, right? So this is the endeavor. When I moved into this place in February, it was one of those decisions that was like, this works, this aligns, let's go and let's move. And it served my purpose up until this time. I've been able to dismantle a lot more of my narrative of having to need things in my life, like air conditioning all the time, and really live within a beat of being on this earth plane. All the dynamics of things that I've learned in this process, there's been so many. So why I tell you this today is that I put out an ad in some of the Facebook groups that are local to here saying, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 2 or potentially 3-bedroom house. It needs to be in these locations, somewhere in between. I don't want it outside. I don't want it up the mountain. I don't want it further south. This is the parameter because my life is set up here. My office is in this area. My friends are here. My gym is here. Like the things I really enjoy are here. And not that I'm not open to maneuvering and shifting and changing, but I really just feel the call to root into this area. So those were some keys. And I also said I need an air conditioner in at least one of the rooms, like the master bedroom where I'm going to sleep, because I don't like to sleep hot. Okay. That's like a thing for me. And sometimes you cannot open the windows here, especially when you have stray dogs that are around because they could get into the windows. And depending on your environments, you do not want your windows open. That's a whole other fucking mechanism that I will not even speak into today. That was a requirement. I also needed high-speed internet. I can't have it like on this minimal blip kind of thing because I need it to work, right? That's a thing for me. And the last one was I need a fenced in yard. Okay, so I said, and it has to have a fence. That's what I mentioned. So I had a lot of messages. Some of them didn't listen to the ad, they didn't follow the instructions. They were like, it's outside of the range or certain aspects of things. And there's a lot of people that want to build me a fence if I decide to take a contract. I'm going to sign for a year lease this time, really root in, become with the home, and really treat it like an avenue of grounding. I feel so deeply rooted to this next house that it's like, it's going to be the place where so much in my world transpires. The next levels are met. The next adventures are met. I feel like my partner's coming into play here somehow. And this is the place. And it's like, it's got to feel aligned and juicy. So like Colleen in the past used to do, certain behaviors are still coming up in the space for me and in this maneuvering for me is that I question sometimes some things. So here's what I think us as humans have been conditioned to do. It's like, let's go try it all out and see what's going to land. Instead of trusting our intuition that a certain house is the house and trusting in all the things, instead of having to go look at 500 million other houses. Okay. So this happens to me also in the world of dating. So oh my God, quite a few years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago, was it 5-6 years? Yeah, 5-6 years ago, I had an online dating profile and I was on a couple websites. I was on Match and I was also on Bumble. I know. I was living up in Port Elgin in a very segregated area. Like it's not like there was a lot. It would be like being on, well, I guess Costa Rican Tinder is actually a thing here. So we can't even compare it to that. But there wasn't a lot of people online. And before I even moved in 2017, so 7 years ago, I was on Match as well at the time. And I know who my guy is. I know the qualities he has. I know parts of who he is as a person, like what he's into. Now, granted, 7 years ago, I had a lot of work to do to get to where I am today, to hold the space and capacity to call in the guy that I desire. I wouldn't have been ready for him at the time. I wouldn't have been on his radar. He wouldn't have been able to hold space with me. It just wasn't a thing. Okay. I'm just going to honor that. It wasn't a thing. So I get the whole timing and dynamic of stuff, but I went out on some dates, back then. And I knew that these guys were not the guys for me. I knew that they weren't, but somewhere inside of me, because I was following the normalcy of being a human, was like, well, how do you really know? You should test it out. You should go on all these dates and find out what you want. And I didn't trust that I knew what I wanted. I didn't trust that I knew the intuitive hit would come in when I met the guy and that it would be this aligned and all the things, because that's how I live my life. And I didn't trust. Okay. So fast forward to literally the last few days, I put the post up on Monday night and it was like mayhem in my inbox and my things. And I'm trying to feel through everything. So the easy ones were dismantling the locations. Then I was looking for specific things. So today there's 2 properties that I connected on to visit. This morning's property though, I was directed by spirit. They're like, don't go. ask more questions, don't go. So I sent a message off to say, hey, unfortunately I can't make it today. And they're like, let's rebook a time. So I left that in the field for then because I had client calls to do. I was leading a program today. I was doing all the things, right? So this afternoon, I messaged the guy that I'm going to go meet for his house and I leave. So for those of you guys that don't know, I am right now walking. My vehicle comes into play next week and this beautiful expanded experience started happening in my field. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And all the things are aligning. Okay, so I get the car back next week. So this walk is a 40-minute walk from my house. Okay, and it's sort of raining, like it's spitting rain. I bring my umbrella, put on a podcast on my ear, get it all downloaded, and away we go. Now, a couple things to note inside of this space. I don't have cell data when I'm out normally, unless I get onto Wi-Fi, because my phone stops working every time I come back from Canada. And you would have thought that I've been home for almost 2 months. I would have gotten it fixed by now, but I also procrastinate in certain aspects of my life. I am not always on things all the time, and it's been on my list to do. I have to go to the actual cell phone place and pick a number and wait there. And if you know anything about Costa Rican culture, it's what we call pura vida, pure life, Tico time. And it happens when it happens. So I need to take like an afternoon to go sit at Colby to get my phone fixed. And I just haven't done it yet. It's coming because I see the need for this today. So I get the podcast on my ear. I got my umbrella with me, got all the things aligned, and I start making my way. Now, a couple things started to happen to me on this experience adventure. The neighbor's dog, the wiener dog. If you follow me on social media at all, you'll know that the neighbors have a dog. His name is Thor or Tod in Spanish, and he loves me. He loves my house. He loves my dogs. He comes over every day to my house. So I let him in. He comes in and plays. Sometimes I might feed him a little bit because he's a little skinny and he eats Purina food. How do I know that? He slept over here a couple times. That's a whole other thing. He follows me on this 40-minute walk across the bridge, and I can't get him to go home. His family's not there. I sent them a text going, guys, like, your dog's about to follow me on a walk again, which he's done before, and he consistently does all the time for us. And I just said, like, this is what's happening. So they can't reach me because I'm off of data, obviously. So we start to make our walk. And this place is like, we got to go over the bridge, then we've got to go up, and then we've got to kind of move through. We go through a bamboo forest to get to this place. It's a 40-minute walk, and it starts to rain. I have my umbrella. I'm good to go. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I wore my runners on purpose because I knew that it was most likely going to rain, and I'm set. Like, it doesn't bother me to walk through the rain. This is the life at this moment that I've chosen in this exact circumstance and what it is and playing out. And instead of resisting it, I'm going to embrace it because I have enough to deal with in my life that if I keep pushing up against elemental things that are happening in the world, I'm resisting the flow of nature. And I'm sorry, guys, but I want to play with nature. I want to work with her. So how do I move in her field? So Todd and I go on this walk, and I almost get to the location, and then my phone rings. I can't call out on my phone, but people can call me, apparently. So it's the neighbor who doesn't speak any English, and she's asking about her dog. And her son, who speaks a little bit of English, he's learning a little bit of English at school, is on there. I said, call me back in 20 minutes because we're almost at the place, right? And then I would meet them somewhere along the road and let them know kind of where I am in the space of things. So I get to the house and nobody's there, because the guy messaged me to say, let me know when you get here. And I'm learning through this experience, of course. I need data to communicate, especially when I'm meeting people or I'm going to a place that I don't know where it is. And a lot of the time, Google here does not take you to the right places. It sort of gets you into a space, okay? So it's like, I live like, it's like, and I'm smiling so big for those of you that are listening to this. I'm smiling so big. I live in a place that dismantles all the things that you think you need in your life in real time. Like, it is like, it shows us the root and rawness of who we are. And it allows us to see this if we choose to see it. So I'm fucking laughing, right? And I'm just like, of course. So nobody's there. But I realize that there's a fence around the front of the property, and there's a second unit on the property, and it's not fully fenced in. And I don't want to share a property with people because my dog likes to eat people. And he should be this way when he's protecting our home. Now he needs to learn the boundaries of what this means and what this is and how this operates, which I'm working on with my trainer. But I don't want a circumstance where I share a property with someone. I don't want that, like, at all. I am so privately driven that right now, even the place I'm in, we've got some boundaries kind of on the property, but still, people are too close. Like, I just don't. Fine, if we have like a fence that's really rooted in the space, totally different. But I don't want to share a property with someone, and I need something fully fenced in. So why I tell you this story, and I'll tell you about the rest of the story and how Toa got picked up and stuff like that. But the main message of this podcast today is: are you asking the right questions? Are you communicating in clarity to what you really desire? So I didn't think that this would be a thing in my world. I assumed that when I said this out loud that people understood what I meant. But they didn't apparently understand what I meant because I wasn't clear enough in my description in the preciseness of what I'm looking for. And I take full ownership for that. So we walked 40 minutes to get there. Me and the neighbor's dog. And the guy wasn't there because he told me to message him when I got there, and I didn't message him because I couldn't message him. So I just said, this isn't the place, and I knew it wasn't the place. So we started walk back through the bamboo forest. And then I get a call from the daughter of the neighbor's boyfriend, I believe, who speaks English. And he says, hey, I'm calling on behalf of family. I know you have Todd. Where are you? So we ended up agreeing to meet, and they came down the street. And at this time, Todd's tired. And he's a small fucking wiener dog, right? And he just walked 40 minutes with me. Now we're going back. Like, it's pretty much a 90-minute trip there and back in the rain. And I had to pick him up at one point because he was just doing something, and then I lost him. And I was like, dude, this isn't okay. So there's some new boundaries that need to be put into play. Obviously, once I get my car back, it'll be easier because I can just boot it down the hill and he won't be able to reach me in time. But still, like, this whole entire endeavor. So they came and got him, and I continued on my walk. I went to the bakery. I got myself a latte, and I continued on my way. So it got me thinking about this location in the morning that I was told to ask more questions about this morning. So I sent a message when I got back, and I just said, because she wants to rebook a time for us to meet. And I just said, okay, like, can you send me some more photos of the place? And 2, is the whole property fenced in? Number 2. And 3, is it separate? Is it a separate property? So she answers me back, we will build you a fence. And I was like, okay, so here's what happens in Costa Rica is that people will say they do something and there's a certain timeline on it, and it doesn't get done by the timeline. And this is something that I've seen happen over and over and over again here. So I'm already like, and there's 2 other properties that say they're going to build me a fence. And I'm like, this isn't happening. It can't. There's no way this is happening. And this isn't going to maneuver properly. Like, I just already know this isn't going to maneuver properly. And so I declined that offer. Now, there is a property that I've been speaking to a guy about. It's on a little bit on the edge. Like, I didn't want to have to pay this much a month. I've learned through my process being here and living here and some of the properties I was in before that some people, this and this. Now I'm going to have some negotiation room. I feel that I'll be able to bring that price down a little bit for them. I'll commit to a year. I'll commit, like, I'll pay my electricity, whatever it is. But I think I've got a bit of movement room. Like, I was just told right now, as I'm speaking to you, that they'll probably take it for $200 less, which would be more ideal. And $200 is $200. $200 pays almost for my electrical bill every month, so it'd be kind of good to have it all included. Could I stretch to pay that? Yeah. I paid almost a third more in my first house I was here. Like, I can support the money of that. But what I find in this place is that people will push a boundary on things and extend that. And if you let them kind of get away with it, they will. So there's a lot of movement within here. Plus, I'm a great tenant. I take care of the place. I pay my bills. I respect the stuff. Now I'm working on the dogs who are getting crate trained because they have destroyed some things that I've replaced. But the curtains in here will get replaced. The toilet paper roll will get replaced when we leave. Like the things they've eaten will get replaced. And I am that kind of tenant that will leave this place looking like I came in the way that I came in. And I respect some things. And I'm meeting them on Saturday. This landlord, owner of the house, I have been talking to him nonstop for 3 days. And we talk about good vibes and we're talking about my business and all the stuff that happens. And he's like, I really have a good feeling about this. He also knows the owner of the restaurant that's right down the street. And I know the owner of the restaurant. And like even the owner, if he asks about me, will be able to kind of vouch for my energy because the owner and I have spent quite a bit of time together having conversations when I used to go in there when I first got here. It's like, it feels more aligned. Plus this place has a gate and a fully fenced in area. Plus it has an electrical gate on the top, and it has cameras, and it has an alarm system. And it has a patio backing off from the master bedroom on the second floor that looks out to the sunrise. And I'm like, and it's all jungle. And I'm like, this is the place, and I can feel it. So if I know that this is the place, why am I going to see other places? Why am I taking the 90 minutes to walk to a place that I didn't even qualify was the place for me, instead of just rooting in to be like, this is the place? Because part of me is still in that scarcity energy of this. Part of me, and I've had this conversation with myself on the way home after Todd got picked up, is in that space of like, but what if it's not the place? Which means that I'm living in doubt. And I had this duality conversation in my mind that said, why are you not trusting the pull of the universe? Why are you not trusting that God has you and that you're going to be supported and the exact place that you want will be there? The only thing about this place, and I didn't stipulate it, is it doesn't have a pool. However, there's enough yard space. I can get a plastic pool for the dogs because I want them to actually have a place that they can go into. Like seriously, they find the biggest mud puddle every single fucking day and go diving into the mud puddle. Like they love water, and I want them to have this. And if they can't be trained to swim in a pool like I wanted to, then at least I can get them a kiddie pool, and the yard is big enough to play. I can throw the ball down one aspect of the yard. They can run and chase it. And it's like the walls are massively high. They won't be able to get through them. So there may be a barrier I have to create to just put against the gate when I'm not going in and out and move it every time I move the car out and stuff, but I can make it work. And this feels aligned. It's a brand new build. No one's ever lived in it before. It has everything I need, including a couch that I can extend my legs on. And it is all of it. It's there. It has these massive, beautiful windows. It's a beautiful, beautiful landscape. And I'm like, I could see myself rooted in this house where it's tucked away. It's off the main road. And it feels just aligned. So a couple of the messages coming through this podcast for you today is, are you asking the right questions? Are you clearly communicating your desires and needs? And are you trusting that you will be supported in life? And you may say yes to some and no to some of these, or you may be like, oh, I got to consider this or think about it and be all into the space of this juiciness. But through this last 24, 48-hour time period, these questions are coming up in my field to ask myself. Therefore, I'm posing them to you today on this podcast episode to be like, what does this feel like for you? And are you clear about what you really desire? Because apparently I'm not. And I took 90 minutes out of my day today and gassed me too. And then it started pouring. Luckily, I got to the bottom of the mountain before, like where I live. So it takes me about 7 minutes to get up the mountain, maybe 5, depending on how I'm booting it up the mountain to my house. So I was only in the pouring rain for 5 minutes. And then it poured for hours today, like just poured and came down. And I went, I'm grateful that this happened later. I'm really grateful that I got home already. I'm really grateful for all of the experience in all of this and holding space that way. But it's like, Colleen, you need to get more clear. So then I asked myself this next question is like, are you clear about the lover that you want in your life? Are you clear about the man in your world coming in? You know, are you clear about your business intentions and what you really desire to make an impact? And this question's come up today going, am I really clear? Really? Am I really clear about this? And most likely I'm going to say no. Because if I am not clear in the place that I want, which is pretty tactile, I bet you there's some disconnection in the other aspects of my world. So how do I shift this? It's time to do some work. How do we step in and visualize this and work with it and move with it and be with it and bring this into our capacity and field? So I land that into your field today for you to consider, for you to chew up, for you to be with. Are you asking the right questions? And are you clear in your movement here on earth? And guys, like I always say, help us spread the word. Share it out, tag me, tag a friend, send it off to someone, give us a review if you haven't done that yet too on Apple. Like, this is a conversation that a lot of people I think need to have. And let's step in together to serve humanity in whatever way we can. Because remember, one light lights all lights that they come up against, if those lights choose to be lit. You, my friend, are a brilliant beam of light. It's time to start stepping into that and owning it. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the 100th episode coming up next. What it'll be, we'll soon find out.